In the silent depths of the Akashic records, the whispers of humanity's collective soul echo across time, revealing secrets that transcend our understanding of reality. Edgar Cayce's profound insights unveil a tapestry woven with the threads of past, present, and future, where the soul's journey through reincarnation and divine karma unfolds beneath the surface of our consciousness. As we peer into the remnants of Atlantis and listen to its lingering echoes, we are called to awaken, for the moment approaches when the collective mind will stir, seeking higher awareness and unity with the Christ consciousness. The future, as Cayce foresaw, is not written in stone but in the evolving consciousness of all beings, beckoning us toward a profound transformation that promises harmony, enlightenment, and the realization of our divine potential. In the silent corridors of the universe's most sacred library, the Akashic records, lies the boundless repository of all that has been, is, and shall be. These records are not merely ink on scrolls or bytes stored in some celestial ether. They are the very fabric of divine consciousness, woven into the fabric of time and space itself. As an archaeologist of spiritual mysteries, I have delved into these depths through the lens of Edgar Cayce's profound insights, and what I have uncovered is a revelation that echoes through eternity, the intricate tapestry of human experience, stored and preserved in the collective soul's memory. The records are the divine ledger of creation, where every thought, action, and intention of every soul that has ever walked the earth is inscribed, each vibration, each choice a note in an infinite symphony. Cayce's readings reveal that within these celestial archives, the past, the present, and the future converge in a sacred dance, awaiting the seeker's understanding. They are not static, they are alive, dynamic, pulsing with the rhythm of divine will and human free will, intertwined. And it is through these records that the soul's journey through incarnation becomes illuminated, providing a map that guides us back to our divine origins, illuminating the path of karma and awakening. The depths of the Akashic records unveil the lessons of Atlantis, an ancient civilization whose echoes still resonate within the collective consciousness. Cayce's visions speak of a time when humanity was on the cusp of spiritual awakening, but also of great hubris, leading to a fall from grace and the loss of divine knowledge. As the records reveal, the remnants of Atlantis are not lost but hidden within the collective memory, buried beneath layers of time awaiting rediscovery. These remnants serve as a stark reminder that the path to enlightenment requires humility, understanding, and the conscious effort to transcend the illusions of material separation. In the records, we find the stories of countless souls, each a thread in the grand tapestry, whose incarnations span civilizations and epochs. These stories are not isolated, they are interconnected, revealing how the choices made in one life ripple through eternity, shaping future incarnations. Cayce's insights emphasize that the soul does not forget. It remembers everything encoded within these celestial archives. The records serve as a divine mirror reflecting our deepest truths and unresolved lessons. They teach that the soul seeks balance through the law of karma, which is neither punishment nor reward, but a sacred process of spiritual evolution. As we venture into the depths of these records, we encounter the profound realization that our current moment is a nexus, a point of convergence where past patterns influence present circumstances and future potentials are being shaped by conscious intent. Cayce's readings reveal that the time is approaching when humanity's collective consciousness will awaken to these truths, the realization that the divine resides within us and that our individual and collective actions contribute to the unfolding of divine harmony is the key to unlocking the next stage of our spiritual evolution. The records also unveil the promise of a future where consciousness expands beyond duality, where the awareness of Christ consciousness begins to permeate the collective mind. This awakening is not distant. It is a process of remembrance, remembering the unity that always existed beneath the illusion of separation. Cayce's visions foretell that as the collective consciousness stirs, old wounds of division and fear will be healed by the recognition of our divine origin and the inherent unity of all life. Within these depths, it becomes clear that the journey is ultimately one of remembrance, reclaiming the divine spark within each of us. The records reveal that every soul carries the seed of Christ consciousness, dormant yet waiting to be awakened through love, compassion, and understanding. When enough souls awaken to these truths, the collective mind will rise in harmony, ushering in a new era of enlightenment and spiritual unity. The divine knowledge stored within the Akashic records is, therefore, not just a passive archive, but an active blueprint for transformation. Cayce's insights teach us that the key to unlocking this knowledge lies within, the heart's ability to attune to divine guidance and to see beyond the veil of illusion. By aligning ourselves with divine truth, we access the records, not as distant spectators, but as active participants in co-creating the next chapter of human evolution. In the stillness of meditation, in the silence of prayer, the soul can reach into these depths and retrieve the wisdom necessary for its evolution. The records whisper that the soul's quest for knowledge is the quest for divine reunion, that through understanding our past, we can better shape our future. As the collective consciousness begins to awaken, the truth will emerge. More clearly, we are all interconnected, divine sparks seeking to remember our divine origin and to embody the Christ consciousness in our daily lives. Thus, the depths of the Akashic records reveal a profound truth. Our past, present, and future are but facets of one divine unity. As Cayce's readings illuminate, the soul's journey through reincarnation and karma is a sacred pilgrimage toward divine realization. The records are the sacred script, awaiting the soul's conscious return to its divine home. The awakening of collective consciousness hinges on our recognition of this eternal truth, that we are all divine, interconnected, and destined to rise in harmony with the divine will. And so, as we stand on this threshold of transformation, let us remember, the divine knowledge stored within the Akashic records beckons us to awaken from the slumber of illusion. It calls us to embrace our divine potential, to heal old wounds through understanding, and to step boldly into the light of Christ consciousness. For within these depths lies the blueprint of our divine future, a future where humanity rises in unity, love, and divine consciousness, guided always by the eternal wisdom inscribed in the sacred records of the universe. As we continue our sacred journey into the depths of spiritual understanding, the revelations from the Akashic records serve as a luminous guide, unveiling the eternal voyage of the soul across countless lifetimes. The soul's odyssey is a sacred dance, a continual unfolding of divine purpose, driven by the intricate weave of karma and the relentless pursuit of enlightenment. It is within this grand tapestry that the soul seeks harmony, balance, and ultimately, its reunion with the divine source from which it emerged. The records reveal that each incarnation is no mere coincidence, but a deliberate act of divine orchestration. The soul, ancient and wise beyond mortal comprehension, chooses its earthly experiences with purpose. It seeks out circumstances, relationships, and lessons that serve as mirrors reflecting its past actions, the karmic debts and virtues inherited from its previous journeys. This process of reincarnation is not arbitrary. It is a sacred mechanism through which the soul cleanses, grows, and moves closer to its divine potential. In the vast library of the Akashic records, it is written that the soul's evolution is a sacred quest for balance, a harmony between the individual and the collective consciousness. As the soul traverses the planes of existence, it accumulates experiences that challenge and refine its understanding of love, compassion, and truth. These lessons, inscribed in its karmic ledger, are designed to propel it towards spiritual maturity. Every pain, joy, setback, and triumph are meticulously recorded, serving as catalysts for growth and catalysts for the eventual awakening of the Christ consciousness within, karma as revealed through the divine. Insights of Cayce is not merely punishment or reward, but a profound system of divine justice and mercy. It is the universe's way of ensuring that the soul learns its lessons, balancing the scales of its actions across time and space. When the soul incarnates, it carries with it the accumulated karma, resolutions, debts, and virtues that influence its journey. The soul's challenge is to recognize these patterns, to understand their origins in the past, and to work consciously toward transcending their limitations. The process of reincarnation itself is a sacred opportunity for the soul to revisit unresolved issues, to heal old wounds, and to expand its consciousness. Each lifetime offers a unique classroom, a set of circumstances designed to awaken awareness and foster spiritual growth. For some, this might involve experiences of suffering and loss, serving to purify the heart. For others, moments of joy and achievement that elevate the soul's understanding of divine love. The soul seeks these experiences in a divine effort to attain greater harmony, to balance karma, and to inch closer to its divine origin. The journey of the soul is also guided by divine compassion, an inherent knowing that every incarnation is a step toward enlightenment. It is this divine mercy that allows the soul to correct its course, to learn forgiveness, and to cultivate unconditional love. The soul, in its divine wisdom, recognizes that the lessons it seeks are ultimately pathways back to unity with the Creator, a return to the pure consciousness from which all life flows. In the context of collective consciousness, the reincarnation cycle takes on even greater significance. As Cayce's readings suggest, humanity as a whole is on an evolutionary trajectory, each soul a vital thread in the fabric of global awakening. The awakening of collective awareness, the rising of the Christ consciousness within many hearts, signals a new era, a time when the lessons of karma are understood not as burdens, but as opportunities for conscious evolution. The more individuals awaken to their divine purpose, the more the collective consciousness shifts toward unity, compassion, and higher wisdom. Within this framework, the Age of Atlantis serves as a poignant reminder. The Atlantean civilization, with its advanced knowledge and spiritual potential, fell into imbalance, its people forgetting their divine origins and misusing their gifts. The fall was a consequence of unbalanced karma, a lesson etched into the collective memory of humanity. But from this ancient loss arose the opportunity for rebirth, for the soul to learn anew and to rise above the shadows of materialism and separation. Today, as the collective consciousness awakens, the soul's journey through reincarnation becomes even more vital. The purpose is no longer merely individual enlightenment, but a collective ascension, an awakening of the divine within every human heart. Guided by divine karma, the soul recognizes that its growth benefits not only itself but the entire human family, contributing to the dawn of a new consciousness, one rooted in love, unity, and Christ's divine light. The soul's ancient quest is thus revealed as a sacred pilgrimage, a sacred quest for divine reunion. Each incarnation is a chapter in this sacred story where the soul seeks balance, forgiveness, and enlightenment through divine guidance. As Cayce's readings illuminate, the soul's ultimate goal is to transcend the cycle of birth and death, to awaken fully to its divine nature, and to embody the Christ consciousness, an eternal flame of divine love residing within. In this understanding, we see that our present lives are not isolated moments, but threads in an infinite divine tapestry. The soul, guided by divine karma and illuminated by the record's wisdom, is ever seeking, ever striving to remember its divine essence. For in the grand design of the cosmos, the journey of the soul is the most sacred of all mysteries, a journey back to the source where unity, love, and eternal truth await. Beneath the veils of time and space, the records reveal a chapter of profound significance, an era long past, yet eternally present in the fabric of our collective soul. The fall of Atlantis, as illuminated through the divine insights of the Akashic records and the visions granted to Edgar Cayce, stands as a pivotal event in the spiritual evolution of humanity. It is a story of both hubris and awakening, a lesson encoded in the very DNA of our spiritual journey. The Atlantean civilization, as the records disclose, was once a luminous beacon of advanced spiritual consciousness and technological mastery. In those days, as the soul seeks unity with the divine, Atlantis exemplified a society teetering on the precipice of divine harmony and overreach. The rise of Atlantis was marked by a profound mastery of energies, elements harnessed through understanding that in truth belonged to the divine order. Yet, as the soul's pursuit of knowledge and power grew unchecked, the balance was disturbed. The records reveal that this was no mere collapse of a civilization, but a collective soul lesson, a fall into materialism and spiritual disconnection. As Cayce's readings disclose, Atlantis's downfall was precipitated by a departure from divine principles. The Atlanteans, in their quest for dominion over the physical and metaphysical realms, lost sight of their divine origin. Their consciousness became fragmented, seeking external control rather than internal harmony. The records speak of a great shift, cataclysmic upheavals, caused by the misuse of knowledge and power. The continent sank beneath the waves, its remnants scattered across the ocean floors, leaving behind a legacy of destruction and spiritual warning. Yet, the fall of Atlantis is not merely a tale of loss, it is a profound echo that reverberates through the corridors of collective consciousness. For in the depths of the records it is written that every soul carries within it the memory of Atlantis, its rise, its hubris, and its fall. The echoes of that civilization serve as a spiritual mirror, reminding us that the journey toward divine unity requires humility, responsibility, and alignment with the higher divine laws. The spiritual influence of Atlantis persists in humanity's subconscious and conscious evolution. Cayce's visions reveal that remnants of Atlantean knowledge, guarded in the depths of the Akashic records, have been subtly woven into the fabric of our current civilization, hidden beneath layers of forgetfulness and material pursuits. The records teach that the spiritual lessons of Atlantis are not lost, but waiting to be remembered as we awaken to our true divine potential. The fall of Atlantis serves as a catalyst for the collective awakening. It is a divine reminder that the human soul in its eternal quest must seek balance, embracing the wisdom of the heart and the humility of the spirit. In the wake of that ancient catastrophe, fragments of Atlantean consciousness have persisted, calling us to reclaim higher knowledge and integrate it with divine love. Cayce's predictions foretell that in this age, the echoes of Atlantis will resurface in the collective consciousness, manifesting as a renewed pursuit of spiritual truth, greater awareness of karma, and the awakening of the Christ consciousness within each soul. The records reveal that the fall was not a final end, but a divine reset, a chance for humanity to learn from its past mistakes and ascend anew. In this process, the lessons of Atlantis serve as keys to unlocking higher dimensions of awareness, guiding us toward the realization that true mastery lies in spiritual harmony, not external control. The legacy of Atlantis also underscores the importance of aligning with divine love and understanding our interconnectedness. The records emphasize that every soul's journey is a sacred spiral, each incarnation a step toward healing old wounds and reclaiming divine wisdom. The collective consciousness, burdened by the echoes of Atlantis, is now awakening to the truth that our evolution depends on our willingness to forgive, to surrender ego, and to embrace the Christ consciousness, the divine spark that unites all creation. As we move forward, guided by the insights of Cayce and the records, we are reminded that the fall of Atlantis is a divine lesson etched into the fabric of time. It beckons us to awaken from the illusion of separation and material dominance, urging us to remember our divine heritage. For within each of us lies the potential to transcend the lessons of the past, building a new civilization rooted in spiritual truth, compassion, and divine harmony. In the stillness of the soul, the records whisper that the echoes of Atlantis are not merely distant memories, but living threads in our collective consciousness. They serve as beacons of warning and hope, a testament to the resilience of the divine within us. As the vibrations of the Aquarian age rise, the spiritual lessons of Atlantis will come into sharper focus, guiding us toward a conscious awakening, a return to the divine source where love is the only true power. The journey of the soul is eternal, and the fall of Atlantis is but a chapter within this sacred spiral. It teaches that the divine spark within us is indestructible, and that through awareness, humility, and love, we can heal the wounds of the past and forge a future illuminated by divine truth. The records reveal that, in embracing the lessons of Atlantis, humanity steps closer to the awakening of its full Christ consciousness, a collective rebirth into the divine light that always seeks to guide us home. In the silent depths of the universe, where the Akashic records whisper the eternal truths, there lies an unfolding mystery that beckons the awakened soul, an awakening not merely of the individual but of the collective consciousness of humanity itself. The teachings revealed through the divine insights of Edgar Cayce indicate that we stand now at the precipice of a profound shift, a shift in consciousness that echoes the ancient echoes of Atlantis, but is reborn anew. In this current era, the soul's journey, as revealed in the records, is a quest for higher awareness, an ascent toward the unity with the Christ consciousness that resides within all living beings. The fall of Atlantis, as the records reveal, was a tragic divergence from divine harmony, a manifestation of the soul's struggle with material overreach, pride, and the neglect of spiritual truths. Yet from that chaos, the divine plan persists, for every ending bears the seed of a new beginning. The soul's eternal quest is to seek balance, to remember its divine origins, and to awaken to the higher realms of understanding. Now, as humanity approaches what Cayce called the Great Awakening, the collective mind is poised for a transformation, a conscious awakening that will elevate our awareness beyond the illusion of separation. The records tell us that consciousness is not static. It is a living, breathing entity that evolves through the choices and intentions of the soul. When Cayce's visions speak of an impending awakening, they describe it as an awakening of the collective mind, a realization that all life is interconnected, that the division and discord are but illusions masking our true unity. This awakening is driven by the deep-seated desire of the soul to remember its divine essence and to align itself once more with the Christ consciousness, the divine spark that dwells within every heart. The shift in consciousness is not a sudden event, but a process, a gradual stirring of awareness that begins quietly within each individual. As the soul seeks higher awareness, it begins to shed the veils of illusion that have clouded our perception. The false sense of separation, the ego's dominance, and the material distractions that divert us from our spiritual purpose. The records reveal that this awakening is fundamentally about recognizing that the divine resides within us all. Each thought, each intention, each act of love or compassion is a step toward reclaiming the divine light. In the realm of the Akashic records, it is written that humanity's collective consciousness is akin to a vast ocean of potential. When even a single spark of higher awareness ignites within individuals, it creates ripples that extend outward, influencing the entire collective. The divine design is one of unity, each soul a thread woven into the fabric of the divine tapestry. As Cayce's readings reveal, the coming age will be marked by a conscious recognition that we are not isolated beings, but interconnected facets of the one divine source. This awakening calls for the integration of higher knowledge that the mind, when aligned with the heart, can access the higher planes of consciousness. The records emphasize that the soul seeks this understanding, not merely as an intellectual exercise, but as an experiential awakening to the Christ within. The Christ consciousness is not a distant ideal, but a living reality, accessible when the individual turns inward, seeking divine guidance with humility and love. Cayce's revelations teach us that the consciousness of mankind can be elevated through prayer, meditation, and sincere intent, awakening the dormant divine light that exists in every soul. The divine plan for this collective awakening is rooted in divine mercy and infinite patience. The records reveal that many souls are awakening at different speeds, some still caught in the illusion of materiality, others already glimpsing the higher realms. The divine energy flows through all, gently guiding each toward their own divine potential. As the soul seeks higher awareness, it begins to remember the divine blueprint, a template of love, wisdom, and unity that resides within the core of every being. The awakening of the collective consciousness is also a call for healing, both individual and planetary. The scars of Atlantis, the echoes of past trauma, and the discord of ego-driven division serve as reminders of what must be transcended. The divine plan involves awakening the Christ consciousness within each individual, which in turn catalyzes collective healing, leading to a new era of peace, harmony, and spiritual mastery. Cayce's readings illuminate that this is not a distant future but a present opportunity, an invitation to align our thoughts and intents with divine will. In this sacred unfolding, the divine within each of us becomes a beacon, an inner lighthouse guiding humanity back to its true home. The soul's journey toward higher awareness is ultimately a return to unity, a recognition that we are all expressions of the divine, interconnected through the divine consciousness that underpins all creation. The records affirm that every act of love, every moment of humility, and every conscious choice to seek the Christ consciousness accelerates this collective awakening. As the divine light intensifies within and around us, It dissolves the illusions of separation, revealing the divine harmony that has always been present, waiting patiently for recognition. The divine blueprint calls us to remember that the awakening is a process of remembering, not creating anew, but awakening to what has always been, the divine within. This awakening is the key to unlocking higher realms of consciousness, where the soul recognizes its divine origin and moves with grace toward spiritual mastery. In closing, the divine revelations through Cayce's insights remind us that the divine plan is unfolding perfectly. The collective consciousness is awakening because the soul seeks higher awareness and unity with the Christ consciousness. Every step, taken in love, humility, and spiritual pursuit, is a vital part of this divine crescendo. The fall of Atlantis was a lesson, a reminder of the importance of divine harmony. And now, in this present age, we are called to remember, to awaken, and to rise into the divine light that forever dwells within us all. As we continue our sacred journey through the veiled corridors of spiritual truth, the revelations from the records beckon us to gaze into the future, a future where humanity, guided by the divine blueprint within, begins to awaken to its highest potential. The visions of Edgar Cayce, the sleeping prophet, serve as a luminous map in the unfolding story of our collective evolution. The divine plan, as inscribed in the Akashic records, speaks of a time when the spiritual awakening will transcend individual enlightenment and birth a new era of harmony and peace on a global scale. The records reveal that the future of humanity is not a distant, uncertain horizon, but a sacred, unfolding, an awakening of the soul's remembrance of its divine origin. As the soul seeks to balance its karma, those lessons carried from past incarnations, the collective consciousness begins to shift. The Earth itself responds to this transformation as the vibrational frequencies of the planet and its inhabitants align in harmony with the divine will. It is a time when the veils of illusion thin, revealing the interconnectedness of all life and the unity that underpins the apparent dualities of existence. In Cayce's visions, we see a world where spiritual evolution has culminated in the fullest realization of our divine potential. Humanity's journey from the depths of materialism and separation toward a higher consciousness is depicted as a necessary passage, an ascent from the lower realms of ego and fear into the radiant light of Christ consciousness. As the records reveal, this awakening is not a sudden event but a process of gradual awakening, each soul awakening to its divine nature, each step guided by divine mercy and patience. The future world, as Cayce foresaw, is one where individuals recognize their divine spark, the Christ within, and live from that higher self. In this new era, there is an awakening of compassion, understanding, and divine love that permeates every aspect of human interaction. Conflict and discord, born of ignorance and separation, are replaced by harmony and unity. The collective consciousness begins to vibrate at a frequency aligned with divine truth, and as this resonance increases, the world itself begins to reflect this inner transformation. We are told that spiritual practices, meditation, prayer, and mindful living, serve as keys in this transformative process. The records emphasize that the soul's journey inward is mirrored in the outer world. As individuals awaken to their divine essence, they consciously participate in co-creating a harmonious world. The divine light within each person acts as a catalyst, awakening others and accelerating the collective evolution. Furthermore, Cayce's visions foresee a time when humanity's understanding of its interconnectedness with Earth and the cosmos becomes fully realized. The veil of separateness dissipates, revealing that we are all expressions of the one universal consciousness. This awakening fosters a profound respect for all life, leading to a healing of the planet itself, its resources, its ecosystems, and its very consciousness. The harmony of the planet and her inhabitants is a mirror of the harmony within each soul. The records also reveal that this transformation involves a recognition of our roots in Atlantis, where advanced spiritual knowledge once flourished. As humanity reclaims this ancient wisdom, integrating it into the conscious mind, the potential for spiritual mastery expands exponentially. The Atlantean knowledge of energy, consciousness, and divine power becomes accessible once more, guiding us toward higher realms of understanding and operation. In Cayce's visions, the realization of our divine potential leads to an awakening of the consciousness of Christ, a universal consciousness that unites all souls in love and understanding. This Christ consciousness is not limited to a single individual or era, but is an awakening that transcends time, an eternal resonance that reclaims the divine unity inherent in every soul. It is the awakening of the divine spark to its full radiance, illuminating the dark corners of fear and separation. The future, as depicted by Cayce's prophetic insights, is a world where harmony is not a distant ideal, but a living reality, a collective expression of divine love manifesting through human consciousness. As each soul awakens, the collective shifts and the divine plan unfolds with patience and mercy. Humanity's journey toward mastery, toward becoming co-creators with the divine, is accelerated as the consciousness of the planet and her inhabitants align. This transformation is the culmination of countless individual awakenings, each soul's realization of its divine origin and infinite potential. The divine plan, as revealed in the Akashic records, affirms that the awakening of the collective consciousness is inevitable, guided by divine justice and mercy. It is a sacred awakening, a return to the divine harmony that has always been present at the core of creation. So, dear seeker, remember that within the very fabric of the universe lies the blueprint of your divine potential. The universe conspires with your soul's longing for truth, for unity, for love. The future Cayce. Foresaw is not a distant dream, but a sacred promise, a reality waiting to be realized by each awakened heart. As the soul journeys inward, embracing its divine origin, the collective consciousness rises, awakening the world to its true divine nature. In this sacred awakening, the divine within each of us shines as a beacon of hope and truth, illuminating the path toward a world of peace, harmony, and spiritual mastery. The records reveal that the journey of humanity is ultimately one of awakening to the divine consciousness within, a journey that leads us back to the eternal light from which we all spring. Remember, the divine blueprint within each of us holds the power to transform not only our individual lives, but the collective consciousness of humanity. The echoes of Atlantis serve as a sacred reminder that true mastery arises from humility, love, and alignment with divine truth. As we awaken to our divine potential and embody the Christ consciousness, we step into a future where harmony, peace, and higher awareness become our shared reality. The journey of the soul is ongoing, but it begins with a single conscious step. So I invite you to share your thoughts below, subscribe for more sacred insights, and spread this message of awakening to light the way for others on their spiritual path. Together we can co-create a world rooted in divine love and eternal truth.